Happy Wednesday and welcome to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up and get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And welcome in to our live show here on YouTube. And we are a little short-staffed for the rest of the week as Jay and Mario are both enjoying some time off. But I was lucky enough to get my buddy Joseph Zakrzewski, the wonderful play-by-play announcer, media guy, man of many hats for our Rockford IceHogs to join us before he heads out on a vacation too. Everybody's leaving this week, and it was almost me sitting here staring at you for an hour, but thank God Joey Z can join us. Joe, how's it going, buddy?
It's good to be here. Thank you. Yeah, this is kind of the last hurrah for everybody in the hockey sports community, front office staff, everybody. I mean, Labor Day is kind of everybody goes back to school and, people kind of get back into the groove, start turning their attention to fall weather and fall plans. And it's no different for hockey. I mean, basically, after Labor Day, you're about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from training camp getting rolling. You also get stuff going on with prospect tournaments like the Tom Kurvers one coming up here for the Chicago Blackhawks. So yeah, it's you got to get out, because for a lot of us that wake up and live at the rink all day, it's for your family. It's, I'll see you, maybe a quick pause at the holidays, maybe a quick pause for All-Star break, and then I won't see you again until May. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, it's
not
it's
that
always
far-fetched.
Yeah. No, it's not too far off. I mean, those that work in the industry, yourself included, Greg. I mean, I've seen you at the rinks early in the morning and late at night, and then repeat over and over again. So no, it's always good to get away. Glad that everybody on CHGO could escape for a little bit, and yeah, we'll be doing that. My family and I here pretty soon too.
That's awesome. My traditional end of the off season is always Riot Fest, which is coming up next weekend, while the Tom Kurvers showcase. So that's kind of my last hurrah of a social life until next June-ish. So yeah, we'll be heading that out. And before we get into the hockey, I just wanted to. You've had a busy summer. And I hate to break the news to all the single ladies in Rockford, but our buddy Joey is no longer on the market, tying the knot this summer, just a few weeks ago, if I'm not incorrect. So congratulations on the big wedding. I'm sure married life is treating you well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, it's been 9 years to get to that point. And I mean, she's been more than patient. My now wife, I mean, we met when I was in the ECHL many moons ago, and then she traveled with me to California. And then she traveled with me to Illinois. I mean, and she played hockey in college too. She was a D1 athlete up in and a goalie up in Vermont there. So she knows the lifestyle. She knows what it takes to put into it. So I couldn't ask for a better support system right then and there. And so yeah, it was awesome. It went by in a flash. I feel like that's really expedited my summer, to be honest with you, because you spend all that time planning it and trying to get it going, and then once it comes and goes, all of a sudden it's hockey season and you're getting ready, turning the page and getting back to office life. So yeah, I'm incredibly lucky, but tell you what, I mean, not a beat has been missed. And so it's fun to take that with me as a nice positive going into a brand new year.
For sure. And we just briefly mentioned it, but you're going to get back from your little trip here and you're going to have to come right here to Chicago, because we got the Tom Kurvers prospect showcase that, of course, is going to begin a week from today, I believe. Yes, the first practice is September 14th. That, of course, will be the prospects of the Blackhawks. So a lot of guys we're going to see in Rockford this year as well, with teaming up with the Minnesota Wild and their prospects. So a lot of guys we'll see come through with the Iowa Wild as well. We've mentioned it before on the show. All the practices and scrimmages will be free and open to the general public over at the Fifth Third Arena. And the games will be Friday night, a game against the Wild Prospects at 7 p.m. And then again at Sunday at 1 p.m. There's practices Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday as well. So how are you taking part in that? And what's, what should the fans be looking forward to? I know there's going to be a lot of names that we might not see in Rockford just yet, but who's taking part of this that we'll see over at the BMO just in a few weeks after that?
There's going to be, the history has shown there's been a lot of IceHog alums, whether it's IceHog players that, skated with the team last year, or, even spent the tail end of last season too. I mean, guys like a Colton Dock or a Nolan Allen, who certainly have a lot of buzz around them. They joined the IceHogs at the tail end of last season, didn't play any games, but really kind of got that first taste of the pro lifestyle. And it's a chance for them to kind of come back in, be a part of, the development camp wasn't all that long ago, jump into this Tom Kurvers prospect showcase and kind of stay up to date with what, the Blackhawks and their coaching staff have for them and their training staff as well. And for some of those guys you mentioned, not all of them will go and turn pro this season. A lot of guys will go back to their college teams or their junior teams. It's really, one of those first touch points they get when they go back and they get those finer details of what to expect, what to work on going into those college or junior seasons. So it's a nice touching and getting acclimated to the pro lifestyle. And when you get a couple of games against Minnesota, which these two teams, they did it last year in Minnesota. So they transported it to Fifth Third Arena this year. It'll be a lot of fun. And you mentioned a lot of these guys, whether it's the IceHogs or Chicago Blackhawks and Minnesota Wild, translates to the Rockford IceHogs and Iowa Wild, who also coincidentally, IceHogs and Iowa playing 2 preseason games in the first week of October, and then they get the regular season going. So these guys are going to see a lot of each other here in a short amount of time. But at the same time, too, I mean, when you look at last year's Tom Kurvers prospect roster for the Chicago Blackhawks, I mean, you saw a lot of guys that were looking to make their mark, whether it was an Isaac Phillips or an Alec Regula or a Lucas Reichel, certainly one of the primo prospects that was talked about all season long last year. And who knows, without the roster coming out just yet, I mean, you might see a lot of those similar names pop back up as touch points. And for them, it's kind of a warm up to main camp. Some of those guys might not leave for juniors just yet. They'll stick around, be a part of main camp, which will start right in the middle of the month and then lead into their first preseason games. And they might even get some preseason action before returning home. We saw a lot of that last year as well before guys went back to junior hockey and college hockey or came and joined the Rockford IceHogs for their campaign. So that's kind of what I expect. And then, I mean, we'll be down there as well. Katie Florio, a coworker of mine, she'll be down there the first half of camp, and I'll come down the second half, and we'll be there for the games on Friday and game on Sunday afternoon to wrap up, and then a couple of off days, and then it's right into the main camp pretty much. So we'll be down there working with the PR staff and communications department, helping them out. And it'll be kind of a first real big IceHog reunion too for ourselves, just because Anders Sorensen and the coaching staff, Jared Nightingale, Rod Klinkhammer, former IceHog and Chicago Blackhawk, joining the coaching staff for the first time, getting to meet up with him. So it's really that first, it's the training camp before the training camp for a lot of us. And I think it's a good way to get into the hockey spirit and get rolling along.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. In case you're wondering, if you can't make it for our fans in Rockford or even our Blackhawk fans, if you can't make it out to the Fifth Third for either of those games, I believe they're going to be live streamed on the Blackhawks website. So you'll be able to check it out and be able to see some of the future. I mean, that's going to be the key focus for the next few seasons as the rebuild begins. I mean, we'll be honest, there's not a ton to be super excited about what's going to happen on the United Center this year, but for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, hopefully beyond that, it's the IceHogs so what's kind of the buzz in Rockford now? Is there some excitement? I know they kind of, a lot of these young prospects we keep hearing about, they're not quite ready for Rockford yet. Nobody from this past draft class should be playing in Rockford. But it's over the next couple of years, we're going to start seeing the Frank Nazars and the Kevin Korchinskis and maybe a guy like Jalen Lipin even as quickly as this year, possibly. I know he's a 20-year-old, so we'll see how that goes. But what's kind of the buzz in town that, like, hey, for the first time in a really long time, the IceHogs are kind of the focal point of this organization?
It's exciting. And you know what? With patience being center stage with a lot of these young prospects and allowing them to get to learn the pro game and get to learn the professional lifestyle. I mean, you saw, for Lucas Reichel, for example, last year was his first year in North America, getting used to, what you hear a lot about, the smaller ice surfaces for a playmaker. How does that affect his game? For, a young kid that was still a teenager going on 20, 21 years old, playing against guys that have been around the league for many, many years, and they have a veteran presence in the locker room, whether it's in your locker room or even seeing the veteran presence on other teams. There's a lot of learning, and that's, learning both on and off the ice and between the ears and between the helmet pads. So for those guys to get that first experience is crucial, and you see that more and more these days, the focus on skill development. And I remember even a couple of seasons ago, the IceHogs would almost have 2-a-days essentially, in between games when their season was shortened due to the pandemic, and those 2 days were just solely focused on development. And that whole season was really focused on development, just like last year and going into this year, just because it's a chance for the development staff to get out there, work with one-on-one skills. What are guys trying to work with? And at the same time, had a chance to witness a lot of veteran players, nurture and help out with a lot of these younger prospects too, and walk them through their paces, whether it's a defenseman like an Alec Regula learning from a Cody Franson of, how to, track down pucks along the blue line, how to cover your angles, how to, seal off gaps and things like that. Or if it's a forward that's trying to make plays, last year, Brett Connolly was a huge asset to help out a guy like Lucas Reichel. When's the time to make a play? When's the time to pass it off? And when's the time to shoot the puck and help them in all different kinds of game situations. And we all saw that, Lucas certainly thrived in that situation now going into year number 2. So for these guys to have this opportunity to come back in and to get that another full season, another full summer under their belt of training, of development camp if they participated, going into the Kurvers prospect tournament, and then into main camp is key. And I think it brings back a little bit of that routine again that probably so many of them were used to, that had to be cut off at various times throughout the past couple of years. But at the same time, too, you said that the focus is on development and bringing up that next crop, but at the same time, too, being patient and allowing them to develop and not rush them in the process. And hearing from General Manager Kyle Davidson numerous times on various interviews or even in person, just hearing him talk. These are guys that he wants to make sure gets access to the best tools available, and at the same time be able to work through their strengths and build on their strengths, and also work through their weaknesses too. And that's going to be huge. And it, with the core group that looks to be coming back, whether they're going to be, battling for spots with the Chicago Blackhawks, which all of them will. There were so many players that you could consider bubble guys last year at various points that, everybody was predicting whether or not, who's the next phone call that's coming down the line. I think with that same core coming back this year and then adding a few more pieces, you're going to have a lot of those same conversations as well. And guys looking and chomping at the bit. I'd almost argue that opportunities have never been more plentiful for players that might be with the Blackhawks and with the Rockford IceHogs, and you're going to get games, and you're going to get reps, if you will, and repetition and putting in your 10,000 hours is what helps you make a great professional. And with that too, you're going to see guys cutting their teeth, whether with the Blackhawks or with the Rockford IceHogs, going through their paces and becoming better athletes for it. And I think we're going to see that. And part of my job and our job with the IceHogs is to allow fans in Chicago to see it, and at the same time bring fans along from the IceHogs to Chicago as well, and continue that great relationship that we built up over the last several seasons with the Blackhawks as affiliates. And now that we're all under the same umbrella as one big Blackhawk family, building that relationship too. So the gaps between Rockford and Chicago and the farm country in between, and a little bit of the Western burbs can have a little bit of fun with it too.
We got a couple of our commenters kind of touching on topics I wanted to hit anyway, but I'll give them some love here. Tree Turdy Tree would love to know thoughts about how to change from bringing players up quickly to now where the Hogs have a good caliber veteran prospect balance has changed the mood. I mean, the IceHogs this offseason, I mean, there's turnover in the AHL is nothing new. I mean, your roster, even in season, what it starts in October and what it looks like in April are usually two different rosters. But it seemed that the IceHogs took a little bit of a page of their rivals, the Chicago Wolves, and said, let's get some proven AHL veteran guys here so we could have some success, because we've heard Kyle Davidson talk about building a winning culture, and that starts before you get to Chicago. So you have Captain Garrett Mitchell, who's essentially another coach on the ice. We've talked about him a lot. You bring back a guy like Adam Clendenning, who's a former IceHog, a great veteran. Another one of those guys, kind of like you mentioned Cody Franson a couple years ago, is Ryan Stanton last season. Hawks have so many young defensemen. Getting a guy like that can help. But then you bring back Dylan Secure. I know he's a two-way contract, but he's probably going to spend most of the season in Rockford, and is proven, especially with guys like Brent Conley. Lucas Reichel's not expected to be in Rockford very long, so you got to replace that offense somehow. And then a guy like David Gust, who we know from watching the Wolves, and he was a key player and then winning the Calder Cup. So bringing in guys like that to play with your prospects, how important is that, not only for the success of this upcoming season, but for the development, which is, you got to find that right balance between winning and developing.
100%. And even hearing Kyle Davidson mention a few times that winning is a part of the development process, and learning the mentality of winning. And when you get that in your system, and you learn what it takes to win, it's a contagious feeling, and you want to continue. And it's not an individual feeling, it's a team feeling as well. And I even toss in Buddy Robinson coming on board as well, another veteran guy that can kind of mix in. But you had a couple key pieces on the blue line over the years. Cody Franson, Adam Clendenning steps in, who ironically enough were paired together with the IceHogs at CHGO so far in the playoffs back in 2018. And Adam has experience all across the American Hockey League and the National Hockey League, and has played some key games in Stanley Cup playoff matchups when he was with the Columbus organization. So Adam's going to be a huge resource. Garrett Mitchell, same thing, just celebrated 500 games played last season in the American Hockey League, and he's got even more so when you add his NHL and overseas stats. So to have guys that have been there and done that is crucial for a lot of these young guys that are coming up from, whether it's a junior program or a college program or from overseas, when they were the senior class, the big man on campus, and now they're going into a pool of guys that are twice their size or twice their age, and trying to battle and be successful against them, and to learn that competitive edge. Because some of that stuff is more than what you can teach with X's and O's. And for a guy like Dylan Secura too, the last time he was in an IceHog uniform, he was very much similar to a Lucas Reichel type guy in terms of offensive production and what he was able to do when he had the puck on his stick, and saw tremendous success there. And then obviously got his opportunities in the National Hockey League with Chicago, and then moving on when he became a part of the Vegas Golden Knights organization, and of course the Colorado Avalanche organization as well last year. We all know how Colorado did. So to have those guys that have had, again, that been there, done that experience on their resume to show the ropes, let the guys learn at the same time. It's not, they're not giving you a manual on day one of like, here's how to be a proper pro. They take those skill sets that each individual player has, they build them up to allow them to be successful, and at the same time show them a few tricks of the trade. And it's monstrous every single year. And in fact, even listening to some of the conversations of even around the National Hockey League today, it was been a lot of talk about the value of veteran players, and a guy like Zdeno Chara came up in conversations, and various examples of veteran guys that are still looking for contracts at the National Hockey League level. But it wasn't so much their on ice play, which certainly speaks for themselves. There's a reason why they've spent years and years in the National Hockey League and been successful doing it. But it's the presence that they bring to the locker room. It's the presence that they bring to the weight room, to the lounge room, to the meal room. It's every little thing that they bring to the table that allows that not only themselves, but the rookies, the prospects, and the team as a whole to be successful. So to have a guy like a Garrett Mitchell, to have Adam Clendenning back in the fold, Dylan Secura, Buddy Robinson, David Gust, you mentioned, who had an incredible year. IceHogs saw plenty of him last season when he was on that team just down I-90 in Rosemont there, and then hanging out against the IceHogs. So to build that core and then have a lot of guys that are coming back, that core group from last season too, and that are battling for spots with the Chicago Blackhawks, for young guys to come in and feel that competitive energy right off the get-go, and learn from players that graduated from amateur tryout contracts to AHL contracts to NHL contracts to NHL debuts, and then a handful of games, i.e. an Isaac Phillips type guy from what he did 2 years ago to where he is now. So there's a lot of great examples, and we can go up and down the roster all day long, but I think you can see that the proof is there that to have that development and to have those veteran players is detrimental to any team, or not detrimental, beneficial to any team coming in, because if you want to be successful, you have to have a healthy mix.
Yeah, there's so much that goes into getting to the NHL, being a professional hockey player, that goes beyond just what we see during the 60 minutes of game time. So just it's such a hard adjustment for some of these guys that either come from Europe or college or juniors that never had to get a cell phone by themselves or rent an apartment, like little things like that guys like Garrett Mitchell and Adam Clendenning can kind of be like, okay, this is how these things work. It goes a long way, and the eating right and the working out and making sure you're where you're supposed to be. We're talking in some cases teenagers. It's hard to go from being a 19-year-old in juniors to being an adult in a professional league. So you need to have these guys to show them, besides what happens at games or practice, what it takes to be a pro. So they're very important. And I know I'm happy that the Blackhawks are, grasping the development. It just seems like that's been a missing element for so long, and now it's being embraced, which is great. Another one of our regular viewers and commenters, Surf and Duck, has a question about defensemen. As we know, the Blackhawks, the IceHogs specifically, have a lot of talented young defensemen. Not a lot of roster spots at the NHL level, at least for the start of the season. You still have veterans like Seth Jones and Jake McCabe. Connor Murphy's coming back. Caleb Jones was re-signed. So we've kind of put it at, like, Jack Johnson was added to the mix. So you pretty much have like one spot for that opening night roster. You know these IceHogs defensemen better than anybody, having watched them play for their whole professional careers, essentially. A lot of people want to say Alex Vlasic's the guy. Some people want to say it's Ian Mitchell. Maybe it's Alec Regula. Who do you think is the most NHL ready that is going to get that opening night spot? I know it's going to fluctuate through the season, but who do you think should get that first crack at becoming an everyday NHL defenseman?
That's a tall question, but a good one. And hopefully I don't say the wrong name or anybody comes back at me. But
don't worry, it's only on the internet. Nobody will see it.
We're off the top of my head, with Wyatt Kalnick moving on to the organization, he was a guy that was, making strides too. So, I mean, that opens up the door for another opportunity, whether that is an Ian Mitchell, defensive, IceHogs team award winner last season, defenseman of the year. You got Alec Regula, who was up and down and really got some good ice time and opportunities. First NHL goal in the back half of last season with the Blackhawks. And then you got Isaac Phillips, who, we use that example of a kid coming, his junior season was canceled, gets a chance in the OHL due to the pandemic, plays the abbreviated season with the IceHogs, does so well that he graduates to an AHL contract, which I think that was all of like 1 or 2 days that he got that deal from an ATO, and then moves on to the NHL. And then last year you see him, make his debut and then get some time with the big club. As far as who would I pick that would be most NHL ready, I mean, I've always enjoyed Alec Regula's game. I think he provides that size, but also offensive prowess. I mean, if you look at a kid that is as big as he is, to be as nimble on his skates and to be as offensively aware as he is, was impressive all last season, whether he was getting special teams time or even just off the rush. There was a few times late in the season last year. I mean, he went coast to coast a few times, even in the playoffs in the second round against the Wolves. I think he scored one of the prettiest goals I ever saw, just going coast to coast, because he was just, spatially aware of what was given to him on the ice, and he saw Lane Pickett and took control of it. So I think if I had to, feet to the fire today, pick a guy, I think Alec Regula, just with the size and what he offers both offensively and defensively, he'd probably be one of my favorites to compete for that spot.
One of the guys that we kind of overlook, and there's multiple reasons for that, is a guy like Nicholas Bodine, who former first round pick, a lot of high expectations. He had to watch a couple of those playoff games, from the sidelines for whatever reason. But this has got to be a make or break year for him, right? I mean, you got to think, like, he's been passed up by so many guys on the depth chart. They've drafted 2 more young defensemen in the first round. I mean, is this the year we see Nicholas kind of make that jump and become that first round player that we thought?
I think it's a fire in the belly year for sure. I mean, it's whether or not you're playing for opportunities with one organization or, showcasing what you have for another organization after this season. I mean, if there's ever a guy that's going to be more motivated coming in and just seeing, what's around him, and then like you mentioned, the depth chart being what it is, to come in and to utilize training camp to his advantage, and to come in and work with the coaching staff that he's gotten to know very well over the course of the year, and a lot of the hockey ops personnel that he's gotten to know pretty well. I think he'd be incredibly motivated to, hit the ground or hit the ice skating going into a brand new season, just because of what he provides and where he comes from. And I mean, you saw it early on. I mean, he kind of arrived in the American Hockey League. It was him and Adam Boquist that kind of took the ice together in the early days. And of course, Boquist has, gone on and moved on to, to other organizations. But for Nicholas to get the opportunities that he had, and he even got a game in the NHL last year, kind of, a quick opportunity for him to jump up there too. I mean, it has to be one of those motivating seasons for him to take full advantage. And there's 72 games ahead of you, and that there's going to be a battle coming, whether it's, a prospect tournament, preseason games, preseason AHL games, IceHog games right around the corner too. I mean, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for a guy like him that has that experience. Again, talk about another guy that has experience, not quite that veteran status like we talk about with some of these other players, but another kid that's been there, done that, and has seen a lot of hockey in a lot of different situations over the course of his still pretty young career overall. But yeah, I think for a guy like Nicholas Bodine, it's going to be a big year for him, just not only just for him and where he falls in the depth chart, but just for him personally and what he can bring to the table.
Yeah, you would hope that this would be a season where he would come in very motivated to play some of the best hockey he's ever played for, just based on how his season ended last year and looking at that organizational depth chart. I mean, we could keep talking for hours and hours, and I'm sure we're gonna get together plenty of times this season so you can keep us up to date on everything Rockford. But I know you've got a vacation to get to. So before we wrap up with you, just remind everybody that the IceHogs season is going to start you guys are starting up in Canada, in Manitoba. October 15th is the season opener, a pair of games up in Winnipeg. Home opener is October 22nd against the reigning champs, the Chicago Wolves. That should be fun. One of 63 home games between the two of you guys this year, I think, regular season. It just seems that way. But
there's times it feels like that, and you've been there front and center for all of them, and
yeah,
you have the unfortunate advantage of being right in front of me in the press box, so you hear every single little bit of all those games.
Hey,
but
you keep me informed.
It's a fun rivalry, and it's a rivalry that continues to grow no matter what. And I got a feeling it's going to be a lot of the same, especially now that the Wolves are defending champions. I think that might be in their campaign a little bit against the IceHogs, and obviously knocking out the Hogs in the second round. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I think it's the earliest the team's ever gone to Manitoba, north of the border. Usually it's in the heat of winter and
get that out of the way as soon as possible, right?
Mountains of snow and ice. So I'm rather curious to see what Winnipeg looks like in the sunlight. And then at the same time too, yeah, I mean it's going to start fast. The preseason games against Iowa are that first week of October. Check out icehogs.com, folks. We're going to have the announcement tomorrow about our single game tickets going on sale, which will be October 3rd, which we've announced. But if you're part of the email list, the IceHogs Insider, you get an exclusive pre-sale too. So we'd love for you to come out and check out the BMO. If you follow us on social media, our team's done a great job of promoting and posting up some of the great renovations going on at BMO Harris Bank Center, including what's going to be a new scoreboard coming right around the bend, the club boxes, suites, the concourse, everything's getting revamped, and it's going to be a lot of fun coming back to the BMO for what's going to be another great season of IceHogs hockey. And then we've talked about the fun product that's going to be on the ice. There's going to be a lot of buzz in more ways than one coming to the state line here this year. So hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the upgrades when I head out there this year. It's a great little building for hockey. No matter where you sit, you're right on top of the action, and they're improving it day by day. And it's a fun schedule this year. You got a lot of teams you don't normally see. I believe you guys are the first team in AHL history to host both teams from the Calder Cup final in the same season. Is that true? Because you get the Springfield Thunderbirds, who lost to the Wolves in the Calder Cup final last spring, coming in for a game in December. So I know you don't get a lot of cross conference play, but to get both Springfield and Chicago following their Calder Cup final, that's fun. So any I know they haven't announced the promo nights, but can you give us any sneak peek, any fun promotions? You guys do a lot of good theme nights. I'm assuming the Star Wars night is coming back and all that fun stuff.
We actually had a meeting about that today in our all staff meeting where we broke down the promo schedule and what's to come. Really, I mean, a lot of the focus is going to be on opening night, that 22nd, and just how to make that as fun and exciting, and basically a reintroduction of BMO Harris Bank Center in downtown Rockford to so many of our fans. And with that too, I mean, you go into, even last year there was protocols that had to be in place with fans and with members of the media and everything like that. So to officially kind of reopen everything to a brand new, renovated, enhanced arena. And I mean, with the Blackhawks in and with the IceHogs already 2 games under their belt, rip roaring and ready to go. The biggest thing I can talk about is really opening night. Everything's still in development. I will say that development is still key, and there's going to be promotions added throughout the year too. And so that's probably the best I can give you right now. But at the same time, I mean, if you visit, check out icehogs.com, bookmark it, or follow us on social media. We're going to have all the breakdowns for you there. But yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. And at the same time too, to have new teams. You talk about the new teams, 12 total teams the IceHogs are playing this year, which is the most since the 17-18 campaign. So it's been a little while, and probably has one of the more diverse schedules in the American Hockey League. And you mentioned Springfield, first time ever Hogs have ever played them, and they're going into their 16th American Hockey League season. And then who else is on the schedule? Hartford, the Wolfpack, that's another team getting in the mix. The Toronto Marlies are going to be in. The Laval Rocket are going to come to town. Belleville Senators are going to come to town. And then the Colorado Eagles, another team the IceHogs have never played as well, out of the Pacific Division out in Loveland, Colorado. They're going to see them also, in addition to all the mixes of your Iowas, your Grand Rapids, of course, your Chicagos, your Milwaukees, and the Texas Stars all in the fold too. So, yep, there you have it right there. And so there it is, October 22nd, 7 p.m. versus Chicago Wolves opening night. Yep. You can download the schedule. You can check it out. You can put it right on your phone, get notifications, download the IceHog app. We're going to be rolling out some new features on that here pretty soon and get that up and rolling. So, yeah, September rolls around, and there's a brief chill in the air where it touches 60 degrees for that 1 minute, and then all of a sudden everybody's thinking pumpkin spice this and Rockford IceHogs that.
Give me my hockey jersey and a ticket to opening night. I would highly recommend anybody makes that trip out to Rockford. Just a little over an hour from Chicago. It's a nice trip, wide open. Get there. I recommend. I'm pumped for that October 22nd game. I would highly recommend any Blackhawk fan get their tickets specifically for that one. Be part of the first night. Get in on the ground floor. Joey, I'm going to let you go. I know you've got an exciting.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I will not let Joey go yet because, as someone who has previously been disparaged on this here program for my enjoyment of the band Train, I can't help but notice over your right shoulder. You've got a Train album, like a couple albums. I don't know what that is, but tell this man about how much Train is a decent rock band. At least they
put on. You know what? It's I gotta first. It's my wife, because if you notice, I got the Aerosmith drum head and then a Motley Crue poster signed all right next to each other, and then the Eagles are right over my head over here. So Train is kind of the odd man out in that collection. But no, it's. I mean, tell you what, like they put on some of the best live shows, so I can't complain. Like it was
Patrick Monahan, great singer
at Tinley Park, and it was a birthday present, and it was awesome. So
they were a great rock band in the late 90s.
Right? That was actually, I know it's a bit of an overshare, but we went to Yellow Card, which they're reuniting at Riot Fest this coming weekend, and I'm a diehard Yellow Card. So I'm the rock and roll and metal guy, and then we got the Train and the Eagles.
Every time you got to have a change of pace. You can't be angry 24 hours a day. You got to mellow out every once in a while.
Yeah,
I mean, my music collection is very eclectic too. I'm not all rage and anger. Sometimes I need to just chill out and hear a good love song. I get it.
Okay.
All right, Joey.
Throw it out there. Have a good one, Joey.
Awesome. Well, we got bonding here. We got bonding. I love to see it. Joey, again, thank you for visiting us. Check out everything out over at icehogs.com. You can follow Joe on Twitter. Follow the IceHogs on Twitter as well. October 22nd is the home opener. Have fun on your Disney-themed vacation. I look forward to catching up with you back in town here in a little over a week.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having us again. Love to see you at the BMO, and hopefully if you guys come to the Tom Kurvers Prospect Showcase, we'll be there with bells on both Friday and Saturday for the games, and we'll be floating around as well with our little big old IceHog crests on too. So look forward to seeing you guys.
We'll see you there for sure, buddy. Take care.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks again to Joey Z. We love having him. We're gonna have him on quite a bit this season to keep us up to date.
He's a Train fan. Gotta have him on.
Well, now I see a spin-off show. Lawrence and Joey Z talk Train. That could be a late night. That could be a late night Sunday show on the CHGO channel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm for it.
Late night on Sunday, 120 minutes on MTV back in the day, hosted by Matt Pinfield.
I watch that all the time.
So many bands I learned from Matt Pinfield.
I still have somewhere. I have. They actually released like a set of like 4 CDs, like best of 120 minutes, and it was really cool because they had a lot of stuff that like.
I bet the Afghan Wigs were on that.
I'm sure they were. Yes, big fan of that band. They were just in town, I think.
I believe, or they're
coming to town. One or the other.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a moment here and pay some bills.
Let's do it. Let's pay some bills.
Pay some bills. Yes. Don't forget PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until the football season. Frankly, who isn't? And they have a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central. So one more day left of that, according to my calendar. So check them out every day. There's a new Power Hour bet you can unlock. And you can sign up for PointsBet now using the code CHGO, and you will also get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And there's even more if you're a big Bears fan. Holy crap.
Yeah.
We've got the deal for you.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
Look at that. For a new member, bet $51 total. It doesn't have to be a $51 bet, right? You can bet up, and you can make multiple bets. That as long as you bet $51 or more on the Bears 49ers game this Sunday, either pregame or live, you're going to get not only a yearly membership to CHGO, you're going to get that awesome QB1 Bears shirt right there to the right if you're watching on YouTube. And you're going to get to choose one of those 2 premium sweatshirts. You can get either the Chicago Midway Varsity Zip Up, which is just amazing. They need to send some of those to the office, or the Chicago Vintage, the CHGO Vintage Crew sweatshirt, which is basically the sweatshirt version of our really cool CHGO original Bears shirt. So
I don't know which way I would go if I was a new member, because I'm already on the PointsBet, but I think I'd go with the varsity.
Me too. I'm a big fan of Zip Up. It's a Zip Up hoodie, man. I mean, from like September to May, I live in Zip Up hoodies. So
I'm a hoodie guy
I would go for that. Yeah. I mean, I don't like full sweatshirts because then people can't see the Roosevelt underneath. So if you have the Zip Up, you can rock, you can rock your gimmick and stay warm at the same time. So download that PointsBet app, become a new member, use the CHGO promo code, and you're going to get some awesome Bears swag and probably win some money, because I think the Bears are going to prove a lot of people wrong. This national narrative that they're got no offense and they're treating Justin Fields, but the Niners look like they could be a disaster waiting to happen. Like,
that was
week 1.
Week
1 is hard to predict.
Garoppolo. I was like, what?
Yeah, I think at the end of the year, the Bears are going to have a much better quarterback situation than the Niners. But
let's hope that the offensive line doesn't kill Justin Fields.
Well, you got to catch him in order to hit him. So his legs are going to get a workout. That's what I always said about Patrick King. You can't hit him if you can't catch him. So hopefully Justin's got his speed drills working. And we got another great sponsor, a new sponsor. Speaking of games, if you want to go to that Bears 49ers game, or you want to go to a Blackhawks game, concerts, anything you want, you need to check out our new friends over at Gametime. And if you're watching on YouTube, and you should be, when you scroll down off of our beautiful faces, hit that like button, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, but you'll also see a Gametime link. Click on that link, and that is where you are going to be able to save a ton of money on sporting events, tickets for concerts, anything you want to go to. Gametime has your seats. If you ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, 50-yard line at a Bears game, right behind the glass at a Hawks game.
Look at this. Tomorrow
at a Bulls game.
Tomorrow the Cubs are hosting the Reds. 1:20 game. Nothing better than a daytime game at Wrigley Field. $2. Yep. We'll get you in there.
There you go.
400 level up there. Row 4.
I've been telling people, if you want to go to Blackhawk games this year, the key is to wait to the last minute and hop on Gametime, and you're going to get the biggest last minute price drops that can be found anywhere on the internet. You won't find a better deal this season on Blackhawk games. And you know why it's such a great site? It's because it's created by the fans for the fans and guarantees the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, then you'll love Gametime. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the YouTube description. It will help us out and will get you amazing seats. Anytime you want to go to a Hawks game this year, buy from Gametime. You're going to save a lot of money.
Yeah, I know Herb of the CHGO White Sox pod. He just used Gametime over the weekend. He was in Atlanta and got some really good seats for a Braves game. In fact, he purchased them on Gametime, then actually found a lower price and went to Gametime, back to Gametime. They have like a price matching deal. And so he went back to Gametime, and they were super helpful, got him that deal as well. So yeah, we love them. So go down below this here podcast if you're watching the stream on YouTube, and crack that link and sign up for Gametime and get tickets.
Yeah, we got some other hockey news that happened today. Our buddy Kirby Doc, he got himself paid a 4-year, $13.45 million deal from the Montreal Canadiens. They skipped the bridge deal and they went right for a 4-year deal. It comes out to a little over $3.3 million per season cap hit.
Yeah.
That shows the Canadians, as our buddy Design Love says, that Montreal really believes in him. It definitely shows some faith. I don't know if I would have given him a 4-year deal. I mean, the $3.3 million cap hit, that's fair, I guess. I mean, if he hits that potential over the next year or two, then the second half of that contract could look like a bargain. But that's a big if.
Right.
I wouldn't have done 4 years, but that's why I'm not an NHL general manager. But we wish the best to Kirby. There's no ill will to him at all. I mean, he's a great kid and he deserves a fresh start. So hopefully the pressure in Montreal isn't too bad and he gets off to a good start.
It's a good thing. It's
it could turn out to be a great deal for the Canadians. It could be one of those contracts in 2 years where, like, thank God the Blackhawks didn't do that. Time will tell.
I'm trying to find here. I've got a tweet that I want to show here. This is from Micah Blake McCurdy. He's very young yet. Looks strong defensively with a good impact on penalty differential. Not much offensive threat. Yeah,
that's thanks for telling us what we know.
About that. Yeah.
I'm not sure what all those colors mean, but they look cool.
Yeah, I don't quite understand all the colors either.
Yeah,
pictures, they're heat maps. I
would assume the blue is not good. You want to have more red on a heat map, and that's a whole lot of blue in front of the net, which is not
like
ideal.
Minnesota, a lot of lakes.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what that means, but yes, not much of an offensive threat. That's kind of the problem. That's
Although
why
I do like down below. It looks like what was the movie? The
dream movie, Inception. Yeah,
Inception
with the
word I was looking for. I was going to say intervention, but that's not it. But yes, those look like the tops from Inception.
That's a different story altogether. I think we need a few of those in the CHGO office. There's some other news. Blackhawks goaltending prospect Drew Commesso is going to be an assistant captain or alternate captain, depending on what terminology you like to use, for the Boston University, which is a cool honor. You rarely see goaltenders get a letter added to their jerseys just because of the position, but that just goes to show you what they think of him and his character out there. So congrats to Drew Commesso being an assistant captain for this season for Boston University. Pretty cool honor for him.
I'm more of an alternate captain guy. Is that wrong?
No, it's not. I mean, it's I think
isn't that more of the
based on that's kind of like alternate captain and sweater kind of go hand in hand, and you have assistant captain and jersey. So it depends what camp it depends what year you were born, I think.
Yeah.
So us graybeards like to use alternate. Well,
gray. Yeah, I got some gray.
Those damn kids and their assistant captain TikToks,
assistant captains.
And another big piece of NHL news that came out that might affect a former Blackhawk, the Ottawa Senators. Gave one of their top young players a big contract. Tim Stutzel got an 8-year, $66.8 million contract extension that kicks in after that season. So that's an $8.3 million salary cap hit for 8 years. That, maybe a little early to lock him up. But again, that's one of those contracts where that could look really smart, where if in 2 years he hits that full potential, which I don't see why not. I'm a big fan of this kid. That could be in 3 or 4 years, $8 million could be $2-3 million less than what he should get. So that could be good. That could be a disaster, but I think it's got a better chance of being a really great value than a burden.
I just appreciate the umlauts over the U in his last name. Anytime you get umlauts,
you got to be, that's
worth at least $1 million a year.
You got to be $500K per dot. But that might affect, some people were saying, well, does that mean they don't have a chance to sign Alex DeBrincat? They have him for 1 year. And after that, who knows? He's an RFA. But I looked on our buddies at Cap Friendly, and even with the $8.3 million cap hit going into effect, they're in pretty good shape based on my grade school level math skills. They have about $50 million in cap space going into that next season. So they would have plenty of room to give Alex DeBrincat a big deal if they wanted to. So I don't think that's going to handcuff the Senators if the cat likes playing in Ottawa and wants to stay there, they should still have plenty of room to pay him what he wants. Yeah, as Surf and Duck says, with all the upgrades they made, it's a smart move to lock him up long term. Absolutely. I don't. This kid still hasn't even come close to reaching his full potential. He's going to prove why he was the number 2 overall pick, I believe he was. So, good move for the Senators. So that kind of takes us around the world of hockey. We were talking football earlier. If you're a big football fan, and you probably are, and we just had our CHGO fantasy football draft last night. It was a lot of fun.
How'd that go? Were you in it?
I'm in it. First time I've ever been in a super flex league where you could actually start 2 quarterbacks.
Oh,
yeah, you can play your super flex can include quarterbacks. You could actually play 2 quarterbacks. So I was wondering, like, why are all these quarterbacks going in the first round? Have these losers ever played fantasy football before? And then I double checked and I was like, oh crap, I better draft a couple of these guys. So should be fun. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun social stuff during the year.
Who are your quarterbacks? Who'd you end up with?
I ended up drafting, ironically, in back-to-back rounds, Justin Fields and Trey Lance. And then I have Zach Wilson thrown in there too. So I got the 2021 draft covered, baby.
We got to get you this beautiful T-shirt, the QB1 T-shirt.
Yes.
That's CHGO just put out a couple weeks ago.
And you can get that by visiting our friends at PointsBet and becoming a new account holder there. Or you can go to all CHGO and become a member, get all the great written content, and you can pick out any shirt you want, including that QB1 Bears shirt or the original Bears shirt or the Blackhawks one.
Or the one you're wearing over there. I see.
Yes, this is the old school original.
Yep.
This is one of my favorites. And
not mine,
I know we're gonna have it with the Sky shirt has now been re-released in black. If you weren't a fan of that blue, which shame on you if you're not, because
the blue's perfect. But sure,
now it's in black and it looks really cool in black too. Yeah. So you can get that. I know we've got some other fun merch ideas coming out soon. So the locker is going to get full of really cool stuff. So jump on it while you can. And other things you can participate if you want to. We love building community here in CHGO. And if you want to play against a lot of your favorite CHGO writers and personalities, we've got both a season-long survivor pool, hopefully season-long, because I'm in it. I don't want to be out after 1 week.
Actually, I hope you all lose in the first week and I win it immediately. That
would be great. And there's a confidence pool as well, so you can join. I tweeted those links out on my Twitter account yesterday and retweeted it this morning. So sign up for those. It's free to play. Most of the CHGO personalities you enjoy on YouTube are in it, and we've got actually confirmed our pool winners are going to get a really cool CHGO prize pack at the end of the season. So no charge to play, and you got a chance to win maybe one of those really cool QB1 shirts or some of the other Bears stuff we got there. Those are the links there. You can head over to my Twitter account. I'll be blasting that over the next couple of days. I'm sure a lot of our other CHGO personalities have put that out, but we got a survivor pool and a confidence pool where I was a little confused by that too, because I guess you only pick 10 games. You don't rank all the games. I'm used to just ranking all the games. So
I did not know that.
Some strategy goes into that, a lot more thinking, because there's games you don't even pick. So
Greg, I don't like thinking.
I know. I'm not a fan. I'm not here. I'm not paid by CHGO to think.
Yeah.
It can only hurt the ball club. All right, we got one more quick little read here, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up here on this Flying Solo Wednesday day. We've got another, in addition to game time. I mean, the sales department is killing it right now. I know we got some big time golfers out there. I'm not a big golf guy myself, but I know we have a lot of golfers out there. And if I was a golfer, I would be going to check out our new friends over at Pins and Aces. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gears and get tons of compliments on it and off the course. Pins and Aces are a family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keep them cold for the entire round. Ooh. 7. That's one more than a 6-pack.
That is.
That's you can do some damage with 7 beers over a 4-hour round. So check that out. Check out pinsandaces.com and use the code CHGO at checkout, and you'll receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Welcome aboard to the CHGO team.
And there it is. Oh, God.
Look at that. Oh, those are some snazzy shirts right there.
Hey, I know a guy who might like shirts like that.
Yeah. If a certain brand doesn't hook me up with an endorsement deal soon, my loyalty can be bought.
Hey,
I am not picky, but that's a good looking shirt right there.
Yeah. And look, there's one matching for the kiddo. That's nice too.
There it is. Good stuff right there. I wonder if you can put 5 beers in the beer sleeve for dad and 2 cans of Sunny Delight for the kid or whatever he wants to drink. So, does that even come in cans? I don't know.
I was never a Sunny D guy myself.
I don't know. That's the first thing that popped in there.
Maybe Capri Sun.
Yeah, you could throw a couple of those bags in there. I still at 43 cannot properly open those without the straw sticking out of the back. So if those came in cans, I would drink it more often because I'm not.
You know what I like?
Half of it on me.
Do you remember those little like plasticky cans that came in beautiful colors of the rainbow and you'd peel off the top?
They were like little hand grenades.
Yes.
They were like little plastic
for people who wanted to drink Mickey's 20 years later.
Right.
Those things.
It was like generic Kool-Aid.
Yes. I mean,
you didn't have to make it. No sugar was needed. Yep.
Ugh, but delicious.
Yeah, they were good.
God,
you can still get those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the Jewels later, and I may check those out. I'm not fully diabetic yet. Those will put me over the top.
Yeah,
all right. We are gonna wrap this episode of the CHGO Blackhawks up. Thanks again to our buddy Joey Z for checking in. Safe travels to you.
Train fan.
I'm gonna have to give him some crap about that when I see him in Rockford. But Joey Z is gonna be a semi-regular guest during the season. We're gonna get him on as often as possible. He's great to talk hockey with. Thanks, Lawrence, for chiming in and producing, making it happen behind the scenes. We're gonna be back tomorrow at 1:30. It'll be just me again hosting, but I'm gonna have both Steve and Leah from our PHNX Coyotes crew, and we're gonna preview the Arizona Coyotes. That's a team that we're going to be paying attention to quite a bit this season. So I'm going to have them convince us that they're not going to compete for Connor Bedard. I'm going to try and see if they can make us feel better. But we got lots to talk about with them, their new arena, all that fun stuff. We can argue whose team sucks more. That's always fun. It'd be the complete opposite when we talk to AJ from DNVR about the Avalanche. Totally different vibe. So join us tomorrow at 1:30 again. Don't forget PointsBet app. Use the promo code CHGO. Make $51 worth of bets on that Bears 49ers game and get some awesome stuff and a membership too. You can't beat it. So this is Greg. I'm signing off for today. We will see you guys tomorrow at 1:30. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you on Thursday.